And welcome. Welcome to another episode of Taboo Talk, featuring your very own pastor, me, Lady Charmaine Day. Today's show is guaranteed to be full of sensitive, intimate, natural conversations rarely talked about in the Christian community. So get ready for your very own spiritual consultation. Are you ready? Let's begin. How are you doing, beautiful? I know you are incredible, marvelous, special, and precious, because those are all adjectives I would use to describe you. You simply are well put together and a breath of fresh air. You're so kind, uplifting, and nurturing to so many other people that I just want to give you a warm round of applause for being so good. Yay! Keep on doing what you're doing because God works through people and He's working through you to help other people. Well, today we are in for a treat. We have Deborah M back on the show here to share with us about mental health, and we are looking forward to her coming on. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an international influencer. She's the creator and founder of the Sistership, and she mentors as many people who come to her for advice, counseling, and guidance. She's wonderful, uplifting, inspiring, motivating, and just a ball of fire. Let me help you welcome this spirit of nature, Deborah M. Hi, Deborah. How are you, beautiful?
Hey there, Lady Charmaine. I am doing wonderful. I'm sitting out on my deck and the wind is blowing through the trees and the plants, and I'm just being one with nature at the moment. I had to change my scenery because my oldest granddaughter is moving out today. So of course
Oh,
the moving truck came at the time I needed to be sitting down doing this. So I said, look, don't worry. I'll go out on the deck and you guys do what you have to do. I'll make it work, and that's what life is all about. Finding a way to make it work and not letting it stress you out.
yes. And
Hmm.
and pretty sure you told me you had 21 pearls that's going to knock this audience out. Please share with us what those are about.
Well, I've entitled it 21 Strategic Happiness Steps to help you effectively block and KO depression.
All right now.
Hello, come on, girl. Depression is something that I have had to deal with for many years. And I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder when let's say it must have been 2010. And so I did a lot of research to understand, well, what does that mean? Because you know what, ultimately we are responsible for ourselves. No one else is responsible for our mental wellness. They're not responsible for our physical wellness. They're not responsible for our lives. So we have to figure out, what is it that I need to do? How do I need to take responsibility for my life and my sanity? And
And
so after I did the research on post-traumatic stress disorder, one of the things, it all summed up to, you gotta keep your stress levels extremely low. Doesn't mean stress isn't going to come into your sacred circle. It will. But you've got to know to step out of that circle at that point and move away from it so that you are not stressed out by somebody else or a whole bunch of somebody else's.
amen.
I live my life peacefully. And one of the things I was saying to my girlfriend who came to visit me on Tuesday, and she's still here, I said, I decided some time ago that I was going to live happily ever after. And that happily ever after had nothing to do with anybody else. It
Mm,
had to do with my making choices that are in alignment with that goal.
amen.
Nobody else can make you happy. Nobody else can do what you need to have done for yourself. we're responsible. So, I have to say that's made my life so much better. I've just taken full responsibility. I'm not sitting around. I'm 67. I'm not sitting around waiting for Mr. Right. He ain't shown up yet, and that's okay. I'm still happy. Some women are not happy unless they have a man in their life, or that, they're sitting around and waiting for the right man. But they never ask themselves, am I the right woman? Am
Mm.
I the right woman for the type of man that I seek or I would like to have in my life? So until your Mr. Right comes along, and let me tell you, as long as you're alive, there's a chance you can be the recipient of the right relationship, But we have to take responsibility. If you're happy, you're going to attract happiness.
A-
And you might attract some sadness too, but as long as you know not to engage with sadness, with stress, with those things that can bring you down instead of build you up. So I think it's so important that every phase, every stage of life, there God has blessings for us. He has gifts for us. He has so much in store for us at every phase of life. And I tell women, every phase comes every 10 years. Every 10 years, we cross over to a new phase of our human growth and development. Birth birth to 10, that's one phase. 10 to 20, that's another phase. 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and so on and so on. So what I do, I'm about 2 years, 2.5 years away from being 70.
wow.
And so I say, okay, my 60s, oh my God, there was so many blessings and gifts and talents and things that happened so far in my 60s that I'm excited about hitting that 7-0 number, because every stage of our development comes with gifts that are unbelievable. But you know what? We have to be willing to humble ourselves and acknowledge that God has something for us. Not sit back and say, oh, well, I'm old and I'm this and I'm that. And, I never found a man and I never, was able to do this or do that. What were you able to do? Did you
Hello.
enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? Did you plan to enjoy it? Or did you just take it come what may, whatever happened, you know? But the bottom line here is God has given us the ability and the power to participate in our own life, to make choices. Free will is one of the greatest gifts of all. But you know what? About 15 years ago, I was in prayer and I said to God, I'm going to turn my free will back over to you and work through you, through your will for my life.
Amen.
And that's what I've been doing, So I don't get out of my bed without doing my prayer and meditation. Prayer is the time I talk to God. Meditation is the time I shut up and let God talk to me. Yeah, a lot of people pray, but they pray prayers that's not about them. We have to recognize that if we're not willing to talk to God and then take the time to wait until God responds to us, because a lot of people, they'll pray and they get up and they take off. They don't even wait for God to talk to them. So what kind of guidance did you get for the day? Generally, absolutely none. You're working on your own, or allowing your own mind to take you wherever. And a lot of times people end up in not so good places. And, life is beautiful. And I said that to my girlfriend a little while ago. We were talking. I said, life is really beautiful, but we've got to be willing to see the beauty in life and not just wallow in the ugly. Some people, all they see is ugly. They may have been victimized at some point in their lives. And so they live their lives as perpetual victims. But I always say, and I said this to Jackie earlier, I said, you know what? Whenever I have speaking engagements, I always tell women, you were victimized. You are not a victim unless you choose to be.
Amen.
And in my childhood, I was victimized by my father. I had to endure an incestuous relationship with my father. I was raped at age 12 by the 19-year-old brother of my then best friend. And so I could have I could have just wallowed in the pain and the misery of those experiences. But I
Yeah.
remember, and I was saying this one, at age 19, I decided that I was going to take charge of my own life. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't even know at the time that that meant I had to turn to God. But I always had that God presence within me and that power that was guiding me. I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it always, but I knew there was something there. And once I understood that God works in me, with me, for me, and through me for the greater good of us all, I'm like, wow, that's deep. That's deep. And I learned that in prayer when I was talking to God. He works in us, with us, for us, and through us, not just for our good, but for the greater good of the masses.
Amen.
So, you know, uh, my life has been quite challenging, but it's beautiful because I didn't stop and allow the not so good things that happened in my life to consume me. I decided that I was going to take charge of my life. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I just kept going. I kept seeking answers. I kept praying. I kept meditating. And here I am. I'm here in the Pocono Mountains. My deck, the trees overlook my deck. It's just a beautiful experience. And when I sit out here surrounded by greenery and surrounded by a beautiful day, you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful and I'm very thankful. So, one of the things that I do, my first point I want to bring up to everyone is when we are looking at life and the things that are going on around us, we sometimes fail to do the deep introspective and internal analysis that we need to do. Every day I'm like, okay, I analyzed the day before. What worked? What didn't work? What I need to do today. And I always say before I get out of my bed, say, okay, God, what's the plan today? And sometimes God will say, you're just going to take care of you today. And I hear that very clearly. And it's like, oh, so it's a me day. And I've had this cold that came on a couple of days ago. My youngest granddaughter, who's 12, she got it first. And then I got it. And then my 16-year-old granddaughter got it. And I'm like, oh Lord, I just prayed and I did a lot of self-care over the last couple of days. If I hadn't, I would not be on the show today because I wouldn't be feeling well enough to do it. But I said, God, I know that there's someone waiting to hear the message you are giving me. You have given me and I've written down for them. So
Amen.
I said, I will just take care. Matter of fact, I made myself a cup of tea to bring out here with honey and lemon and left it in on the counter in the kitchen. Okay, what the heck? Okay, it is what it is. So it's there. I'm here. I'm just gonna keep going. But we have to engage in daily introspective self-analysis. What's going on in my life? How much did I contribute to what's going on in my life, whether it's good or bad? Or good. I don't particularly like the word bad, whether it's good or not so good, whether it's something you wanted to happen or something you didn't want to happen. You got to look at, we all have to do this every day and look at what's happening to us right now, not 20 years ago. I don't wallow in the muck and mire of the dysfunction of my childhood. If I did, I wouldn't be here either because I'd be somewhere wallowing in the sadness and the pain, feeling guilty. All of those negative emotions would be attacking me all the time, and I, they would just tear me down. So I tell people, don't allow negative energy to get a hold of you and pull you down because that's not God's plan for our lives.
Amen.
being pulled down and being taken for granted and advantage of. You got to be real about the people in your life. Are they loving you? Are they lusting you? Are they using you? What are they doing? And you got to be real about that. And I do that every day, you know? And I think when it comes to children, children always use parents. They always use parents, you know, because they think they're supposed to. But you, as a parent, and I was telling Jackie, we were having a conversation. I said, as a parent, we got to know when to hold up, when to fold up, when to pack it in, when to move it on. Because sometimes we get so wrapped up in our children's issue, our grown children's issues, that we lose sight of ourselves, who we are, where we are, what we're supposed to be doing now. Again, a lot of people hang out in the past, or they're roaming around somewhere in the future. They're totally ignoring the gift of the present moment. What's happening right now? What are the gifts and the beauty around me right now? And embrace that, because the happier you are right now will determine how happy you are in the future.
Amen.
If you don't know how to be happy now, if you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy in the future. And let's be clear, nobody can make us happy. Nobody else can make us happy. Nobody, nothing. You know, you look at the celebrity, how many celebrities have died miserable, have lived miserable lives and died because, or died early because they made money. They were celebrities. People knew them, but they weren't happy. And that lack of happiness was something that took them out. Was something that took them out. But I tell people, I'm not going to allow somebody to tug on my happiness. Whenever we have to get up and move on, get up and move on. Because you know what? I'll move out, you know? Because sometimes in my house, up until my granddaughter, who's moving today, she's 20, she's moving out. Um, and she's got her own place, beautiful place. She and two of her close friends. And we went to see the place yesterday. I said, this is a good beginning. And so I wish you love. I wish you life. I wish you light. And whenever you need, you know that I'm here for you. And that's how we have to live our lives. We have to be here for other people. We're here to help each other, but we're not here to use and abuse each other. And people who use and abuse you, you've got to find the strength to get rid of, to walk away from that. You know, they are where they are who they are. And nothing we do is going to change them. They have to recognize they need to change and get with the program and do the changing they need to do. Otherwise, you just go through this repetitive cycle of being used and feeling used and abused. And there's nothing happy about that.
True.
So we have to look at what is tugging on our happiness. And then we have to find the courage to walk away. Because some people, they will eat you up alive. I was telling someone the other day, I said, as an empath, I didn't know I was an empath until I was 47 years old. And then I did the research. I'm like, what does that mean? What, what does that mean? So all the research that I did helped me to understand being an empath is a gift from God. We are we are the quintessential lovers of life and people. But you know what? We're not so good at loving ourselves all the time. We've got to get good at loving ourselves. I was sharing with someone recently, and I said, you're only going to find love to the degree to which you love yourself,
Well,
to the degree to which you love yourself.
tell
And
it.
once you do that, you'll find that a lot of the users and abusers will disappear. Because see, users and abusers don't want to fight. They want easy prey.
Hello.
And if you're not an easy prey, they're gonna move on, because there are a lot of people out here with low self-esteem and high insecurities. And so they're gonna go find somebody who has low self-esteem and high insecurity, because your self-esteem is too high and you're not insecure because you've done the work. You've done the work to love yourself wholeheartedly. And so they're going to move on. Number two, develop and maintain a positive outlook. There's a lot of negative things in this world and all around us, even in our household sometimes, you know. Yeah, sometimes our families can be very negative. I told my grandchildren recently, I said, look, honey, you guys don't even have a fully developed brain yet. I said, the brain, and this is well known, does not fully develop until 25 years old. And sometimes it takes a little longer. So you have to learn to listen when people are trying to help you. You don't know everything. I don't know everything, but I know what I know. And I will share with anyone what I know. Now, what you do with it is none of my business. I'm not here to make you react or make you follow any of the guidance that I've provided. I'm only here. I'm a messenger. And like a bike messenger. The bike messenger goes, delivers the package. He don't stand there and wait to see what they're going to do with the message.
That's true.
His job is to deliver a message and then move on.
Right.
I deliver a message and I move on. And that's it. So some people, they actually want to make people. Well, God told me to tell you. No, if God ain't told me first, that's coming from you. So we have to be very, very careful about the things in our lives that tug on our ability to be positive, because the more positive we are, the happier we are. When we're negative, when we're feeling all of those negative emotions and they're out of control, out of whack, what happens is it brings down our happiness factor. Matter of fact, it sinks it into the bowels of hell. And then you wonder how the hell you got there. Well, I got there because I was not achieving. I hadn't achieved and maintained a positive outlook about myself and life in general. And that's so very important.
It is.
People don't, they just allow the negative things that happen. And I if I read everything that I have under these categories, if I read everything, what would happen is we probably never get past point number 3 or 4. But one of the things I want people to do is say, I choose to be happy. And let me tell you, happy every time I feel myself feeling a little depressed or not as happy as I'd like to be. Oh, I do something like read some positive affirmations or even share some positive affirmations with others. Because when we share good stuff, positive stuff with others, it's reinforcing the positiveness within us. So it's a win-win. So, one of the things I always say is seek a win-win, because there are a lot of people out here who it's all about them. There are a lot of narcissists out here. Oh my God, they will eat you up alive. There are sociopaths. There are psychopaths. There are a lot of aberrant or not so good mental states of being that are fluctuating out and about and all around us. So we have to decide that we're going to be happy, and we have to make choices about how we're going to remain happy, because sometimes when we make these choices, everything comes at us and we're like, oh my God, it just somehow feels like you're being beat down. No, you don't allow anything to beat you down. As soon as you start feeling those feelings that don't make you feel good, when you're not when your emotional intelligence is being trampled on, you have to stop, understand what's going on with you and why right now. There might be a lesson for you. Lessons come in strange ways, and sometimes they come at you, they bombard you. But okay, I always ask myself, okay, this happened. I didn't want this to happen. Well, why did this happen? And once I get the lesson, that's when the blessing comes in. And people don't understand. You know what? I said this morning, everybody is deserving, but not everybody is worthy. People want, we have a lot of people in right now in this era we live in who have a sense of entitlement. They believe that they deserve it, they're entitled to it, they don't care about you. I want what I want. And if I don't get what I want, I'm going to find somebody I can take it from.
Mm.
That happens a lot. I've seen it. And I'm like, whoa,
Mm.
that's not
That's
good.
not good.
That's not good. And when you are not being humane, you are not in the presence of God. You can't be in the presence of God and not be humane to other human beings. You just can't. We can't. And if you're so self absorbed that you don't recognize when you are mistreating other people in whatever way you might be doing it, then you're blocking your blessings. And you're crying about, well, why isn't this happening in my life? Why isn't that happening in my life? Well, you may ask the question, but you don't take the time to receive the answer from God so that you can flip the script on your life and make whatever changes you need to make in order to live a happy and fulfilled life. I tell you, every time I feel a little twinge of unhappiness, girl, I start doing happy stuff. I start putting out affirmations on Facebook and I read them myself. And I see other posts and I start laughing and may share posts that make other people laugh. It knocks that depression out right away. I don't have to sit and wallow in it. It knocks it out. It removes it from my very personal and sacred space. And I love that. I just love it. And you know what? Sometimes people become too overly emotional about the things that are happening in their lives. Don't get out of kilter. Don't let your emotions get out of kilter. You got to control those emotions, because if you don't, those negative emotions are going to come in and eat you up alive. And you don't want that. So having a high emotional level of emotional intelligence works for you, not against you. 3, believe in yourself. You know what? No matter what I went through as a child, I believed in me.
Mm.
I believed in myself. When I got 19, I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a mother at home to guide me. I didn't have a father who was loving and he, he was a pedophile. Anytime you have sexually abuse your children, you're a pedophile. Okay. So, you know, I had to decide that I was not going to live the same kind of life during my adult years that I lived during my childhood years. And so I had to begin the process of looking at what I need to do, searching for answers, reading. But girl, I read so many books on knowing yourself and loving yourself. And it was when I realized that, you know what? I've been trying to love everybody else because that's what I feel in my heart and my soul and in the essence of my being. But I had not been loving me. I was loving other people. And those people weren't always loving on me. But I was trying and trying because you know what? I knew what kind of life I had gone through as a child. I wanted to help other people not have to go through that. And if they did, how can they grow through it and become the person God created them to be? So you have to take responsibility for our lives is essential. We have to take a responsibility for our life, and we have to believe in ourselves. You have to believe in ourselves. We have to love on ourselves. And you know what? When I moved to the Poconos, I was in the middle of a breakdown. And as a matter of fact, I did. But you know what? I got the help, the mental health help I needed. And what it seemed had happened that over my many years of being stressed out, being abused, and feeling stressed because of it, it had created a chemical imbalance in my mind, in my brain. So once the doctor I went to put me on some medication, I was on that medication for about 6 months. Then from that point on, I've been soaring. I have those days. I have days, but they're just days. They're moments that remind me I'm human. And sometimes we want to be superhuman, and we can be, but only under the guidance of God.
Amen.
Only under the guidance of God. And I tell people I'm not a religious person. I'm an extremely spiritual person, and my guidance come directly from God. And I love that because every morning when I wake up, before I get out of my bed, I go into prayer and meditation, and I spend about an hour, and I love it. I feel so much better when I do get out of bed, and I have some direction for the day, even if that direction is just be still and take care of yourself. And I honor whatever my messages are. If they're good, that's God. If I get a message to tell me to go smack somebody or go shoot somebody, that ain't God.
Amen.
So I don't follow nothing like that. I don't even get messages like that. So we've got to believe in ourselves and love ourselves with everything that we have. Because when we do that, the whole dynamic of our lives begin to shift, and we begin to feel better, and we begin to recognize our value to the world. We're here for a purpose, but we've got to recognize we have value to this world that we're in. And then we have to accept whatever our calling is, because within that calling is everything that we've ever wanted in life. But if God is calling you and your purpose is to help over here, and you're not listening to God, and you're doing whatever you want to do over here, you can be sure that the things you want are not going to happen. Like I said before, um, we're all deserving, but not all of us prove worthy.
Amen.
Now you got to prove worthy. You know what? You may be able to fool yourself. You may be able to fool other people. You can't fool God.
That's true.
Never. So we have to prove worthy. So every day, my goal is to prove worthy of the gifts, the talents, the blessings, everything that God has in store for me. And I love it. I love living a God centered life. Too many people live an ego driven life. It's all about them. I'm all this and all that and a bag of chips. I want to be the HNIC. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all figure that one out if you don't know, or you send a lady Charmaine a message asking, "Well, what does that mean?" Okay, you don't just hear something and ignore it if you don't know what it is. Every time I I something happens and I don't know what it is, or what is that, or what do I do with it? I go to Google and I put it in, and it gives me the answer. Oh, okay. So we're like scientists on this planet, each and every one of us. Our job is to explore, experience, and expand before we exit. Explore life and everything around. Explore ourselves, explore life around us, explore others, experience those things that we think we'd like to experience or God guides us to experience. Grow from those experiences, expand. And you'll find that what happens as a result of all of that, of us taking responsibility for doing all of that, is the blessings. Sometimes I'm like, wow. Sometimes the blessings that God send my way are totally, just totally amazing, and I love it. It keeps life challenging, interesting, and it keeps me loving life. One of the things I tell people is, you know what? I'm 67. I'm not, I don't believe in the word retire. We're not here to retire. We're here to evolve. And as we evolve with each phase of life, there's something great that comes with that phase of life. But if you're not going to embrace growing and evolving to your highest level, then who do you have to blame? And some people, they just complain about everything. Oh, I never met the right person. Oh, I had a job I hated. You know what? I always wanted a car, but I never made enough money to have a car. And oh, uh, the woe is me parties go on and on.
Well,
They go, they they go on and on and on. And sometimes I listen sometimes. And listening is a great spiritual tool
yes,
because people will tell you anything and everything you need to know. But you got to stay grounded and you got to operate in reality. There are way too many people out here who are hanging out in la la land. They have this fantasy in their minds about what they want life to be or what life should look like for them. And they can be so far off course that they don't even realize it. So we've got to take responsibility. We've got to stay grounded and we have to live in the realm of reality. It's okay to do some daydreaming and dreaming every now and then, but we can't live there. That's not where we're supposed to be. We're human beings here to do something. So we have to do it. We have to do it, whether we like it or not. And sometimes people are afraid. I think fear is one of the biggest opponents of people. They're afraid of everything. But I tell people, I was in prayer one morning, and God said to me, fear is only designed to warn us when we are in danger.
that's true.
That's it. But if you're busy fearing every day, you're afraid to go outside. Okay, we have COVID now. So they're afraid to go out because they don't want to come in contact with nobody with COVID. They become now during this season of COVID, they become hermits. And they're becoming more and more depressed because we weren't as human beings created to be hermits. We were created to to live passionately and powerfully.
Amen.
And when we live like that, when we choose to live like that, so many things come into play with respect to how interesting life really is and can be. But we cannot walk around with the woe is me sign on our head. The invisible woe is me. Your whole energy, your whole person, it got the woe is me sign. And people who are spiritually connected and have the right connection to God, my 16-year-old granddaughter just came in from work. She's working her first job. So she got the little doggy waving at me. so, so, we have to really take the time to allow ourselves to be the awesome human beings God created us to be. It's wonderful. Being a human being is awesome. But not if you're going to be down on yourself or let somebody else be down on you. You can't live an awesome life if you woe is me. That's the bottom line. We have to accept, embrace, and celebrate reality. That's the fourth point. I kind of gave you a little bit of that in the third. Reality is the bomb. When we realize what it is that is going on in our lives, who people are, whether or not they should be in our lives, or whether or not we need to love them from a distance, because life is all about love. Human life is all about love. And when we can love people up close and personal, I love it. But if I can't love you up close and personal because you're too toxic, I'm going to love you from a distance by not doing anything to cause you harm.
Amen.
When you don't do things to cause other people harm, you're loving on them. And that's what we need. It's wonderful to be a human being, but not if you're going to live a miserable life. There's no happiness in being a human being if you allow yourself to live a miserable life or you allow other people to tug on your spirit, tug at your life, make you believe that you're nothing, because a lot of people do that. They're hurting. What's that saying? Hurting people hurt people. And it's true. If somebody hurts you, it's because they're trying to throw off the hurt they're feeling on you. And they may not be doing it purposely, but they just want to get rid of that hurt, that pain. So they toss it at you with the hopes that they'll get rid of it from their own life, but you can't. You cannot get rid of pain and suffering and misery and hurt by hurting anyone else. If anything, you end up hurting yourself more. And so we have to realize that love is our natural nature. Love is our natural nature. And the closer we get to living our natural nature, the more powerful God's presence is within us, the more we're able to see things that we need to see. That if we don't see it, we can easily get caught in the web of iniquity that other people weave for us, you know? So I see everything. I ask God to expand my vision when I need it. I need to see. But like I said before, people, well, if you shut up and listen and do little talking when you're interacting with other people, they'll tell you who they are.
That's
They'll
true.
tell you everything you need to know. And you'll be able to read what they're not saying. I love that. My girlfriend and I were talking about that. I said, you know what? I can hear what people are not saying. That's an ability God has given me. Why? Because I've proven worthy of that gift. I can hear what people are not saying. And it's what they're not saying that you need to hear the most. Because a lot of times people just bumping their gums. They're just talking, and it may or may not amount to anything what they're saying, but you need to be able to discern whether or not what they're saying has value or what value it has to you. And if it has no value, then whoop, you kick it to the curb and you move on. But unfortunately, a lot of people take on other people's garbage. They take on other people's pain, suffering, misery, bills. There are a lot of women who allow men to piggyback on what they have. And when that man piggybacks on what you have, well, what is he providing for you? How is there a win-win going on? What is he bringing to the table of life? What is he bringing to your table? Is he bringing anything to your table? And the same thing goes for women. I know a lot of women. I see stuff with women nowadays that make me shake my head, make me want to come in my house, lock the door, and nail it shut. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, are they kidding me? And my girlfriend and I, we had gone up on, we were heading toward the 611 to some of the stores and shops up there. This girl, she was a big girl now. She had what she had on, her cheeks were hanging underneath that. Uh, they Back in my day, we wore hot pants, but those hot pants didn't show our cheeks. They were just short. Her cheeks were hanging all out under, and this girl had to be about 300 pounds. And I'm like, you know what? We don't have to wear what somebody else is wearing. What looks good on us? I tell people I don't look at what other people are wearing. When I shop for myself, I'm shopping to look good myself. I'm not trying to mimic somebody else's style of dress. I'm doing what works for me. I had on a different top before we started the show today, and I looked at that. I'm like, I'm not feeling that. I just felt like I wasn't feeling it. So I went back upstairs, took it off, put this on. I'm like, found these earrings in my little jewelry box.
Oh, you looking good.
Thank you, honey bun. And that's what
Yes,
I
you
do.
are.
I do what works for me, not what works for somebody else, or not what is the style. Because at 67, I'm not trying to dress like a 20-year-old girl.
Amen.
30-year-old girl, even a 40-year-old. Around 50, you need to start shifting with respect to your style.
Amen.
Because as we age, there are styles that exemplify who we are, who make us look fabulous. We don't have to look like somebody else. How about looking like yourself? How about looking your best self?
Wow.
That's what it's all about.
Deborah, I just
Yes.
wanted to mention to you that we're starting to run out of time.
Oh, we are? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we got 20 minutes left, so I wanted to give you a chance to get the whole list out.
Okay, I'm going to go through these other pointers. And if anyone needs clarity, uh, they can contact me and
Oh,
I'll give them some clarity on it. I'll hook them up with a little
thank
more. Okay. Okay. 5, take charge of your life. Don't let other people take charge of your life. It's your life. Don't do what everybody else wants you to do. Do what works for you. 6, accept full responsibility for your life. I covered that already, but
Mhm.
I think it's important that I reiterate. We got to take responsibility for our lives. Full responsibility, not partial responsibility, full responsibility. I take full responsibility for me. And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel enriched by life and thus empowered to live a life that's awesome. Set and pursue goals, your goals, not somebody else's. You know, I always said to people, when I was raising my daughter and I only had one child, I didn't I didn't push her to be a doctor, lawyer, or Indian chief. I had to watch. I had to watch how God was guiding her because it was my job to keep her moving in the way that she was supposed to be moving in accordance to her purpose. So we got to understand that we have to set goals for ourselves, not goals that our mother. I was watching one of my favorite shows is Chop, and there was one of the Chop chefs who was at one time a doctor, an MD. He, but he was following his parent. That's what they wanted him to be. So he realized when he took some cooking courses and that he loved, that he had a passion for cooking. He gave up being a doctor and became a chef, and he's
Wow.
happy. So don't stop trying to decide what your children should be or what you. If you want to be a doctor, go be a doctor. Just watch your children and see how God's guiding them. They'll end up a whole lot happier.
Amen.
8, focus on your strength, gifts, and talents. And we all have them. 9, give of yourself to others. We're here to give of each other. When you contacted me and wanted me to be on, the only answer I had for you was yes.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I knew that's what I was supposed to do. God was guiding me. And I wasn't let somebody else guide me or somebody else say, oh, don't do that show or don't do this or maybe you shouldn't do that. No, I don't let other people guide the life I've been given. God is the guidance for my life. Live in the present. Just every day. If you find yourself daydreaming and trying to live in the remembrance of yesterday, or you're daydreaming, trying to figure out what your life is going to look like 20, 30 years from now, cut it out. Because what your life is going to look like 20, 30 years from now, if you're blessed to live that long, is predicated on what you do right now.
Amen.
The appreciation of life right now, the living passionately right now. Understand that pleasure is momentary. We can't go through life. Everything in life is not going to be pleasurable, but you can make the most out of it by living, taking whatever that is and flipping it so that it works for you rather than against you. Practice gratitude. Oh, I'm so grateful every day. I'm grateful right now. I'm grateful to you, Charmaine.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm grateful to
grateful.
you, Deborah.
I'm grateful. I love you with the love of the Lord always. I'm always here for you.
And I
I'm,
love you.
I know. We just have to be grateful for, don't look at what's going wrong in your life. Look at what's going right and let that let yourself bask in that reality. Become a good manager of your time. Time is something we can't get back. So don't waste your time. Figure out how to best use your time and don't let nobody else draw you into wasting your time that you could be doing something marvelous with. 15, stop trying to control everything. There are control freaks all around us. They want to control everything. They want to control you, but they have no control over themselves. So recognize what you're dealing and stop trying to control things. We're not in charge. God's in charge. When we're connected on that level, we know how we're being guided. Set yourself up for success. We have the ability to set ourselves up for success. We're wonderful. We're great. We're marvelous. I like that word you use all the time. We're marvelous human beings. I mean, there's so much that we can do and will do over the course of our lifetime. But we got to set ourselves up for success. Don't let somebody else do it, because not everybody is setting you up for success. They may be setting you up for failure. So set yourself up for success. Discover the joy of simplicity. I have a beautiful home here, but it's simple. I don't live in a mansion. It's simple. I love it. And every home I've ever lived in, I've loved as an adult because it was mine. And I brought into that space the best of who I am. And I love it. Create closure whenever possible. Sometimes we just won't let things go. You can't grow if you won't let go. You can't grow and you won't grow if you won't let go.
That's right.
So I've learned to let go. I tell people I've learned to maneuver around, rise above, and soar beyond anything that it is now time for me to let go of, so that I can receive whatever it is that I am now in alignment for. So manage conflict. There's a lot of conflict around us, and there are a lot of people with conflicted minds. And I mean, some of the stuff that they say and some of the things that they're doing are just absolutely ludicrous. So, we don't have to be a part of somebody else's drama. That's a choice. I don't do drama. I don't do depression. I don't do the things that are going to minimize my value as a human being. 20, reflect on positive outcomes. That's what I do. I like to sit and reflect. It makes me smile on the positive things that have happened in my life. And I just allow myself to bask in that. I don't allow myself to bask in depression whenever depression is knocking at my door. I say, go away. I find ways to propel it as far away from me as possible. But I've chosen to be happy. I'm choosing to do the things that are in alignment with being happy. And so I'm happy. Loving life, loving me at 67. Can't wait till I'm 70, 80, and so on. Because I know that life has wonderful things in store at every phase of life. And 21, lighten up. Lighten up. Come on. It ain't that serious. What's that book? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yes.
Yes, we may be very different, but sometimes we're just taking it to the extreme. Lighten up. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Spend time around people who love you, who genuinely love you. And because you know what? We have been programmed in such a way by God that we know when we're around people who don't love us or like us. So we don't have to be caught in somebody else's web of craziness. We can bow out gracefully and keep it moving. And those are my 21 points. If anyone needs any expounding on them, I'm always glad to share anything that God has given me with the hope that it will help somebody else.
Thank you so much, Deborah. That was so good.
Thank you, honey bun. Life is good, and I'm just enjoying it. And right now, just being out here, and it's a sunny day, and the sunny, breezy day. Oh, I'm feeling it. I love it every moment.
And Deborah, can you share with us your final thoughts?
Do you, be you, do you, for you.
Say that one more time.
Be you, do you, for you.
All right.
That's it. That's very simple. Life is simple. We complicate it. If you be your genuine, authentic self, do the things that are in alignment with your purpose, you'll find that it'll all work for you.
All right.
And you'll be amazed at some of the things that will happen. And it'll make you smile. It'll make you feel good. And you'll understand the power of being a human being, the gift of being a human being.
Amen.
Amen.
And Deborah, can you please share with us your URLs, your social media URLs, how people can reach you?
People can contact me at www.thesistahship.com.
All right.
That's the website, okay? And they can also find me on Facebook. I don't do all of the social media sites, but I do Facebook. So if you look me up and friend me, then we can go to the next level. If you have any questions or any comments you'd like to make, I'm open.
All right. And Deborah, will you come back to Taboo Talk again?
I absolutely will. Anytime you want me, I promise I'm here for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
This was so good, Deborah. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I just love spending time with you. And I know God has us working on in different states in different ways. But you know what? We are two loving human beings who have loved each other since day one.
Amen.
And it's been years.
Yeah.
And we will continue to love each other eternally.
Amen. Amen. Well, listen, we have come to the end of this incredible show. Deborah came on Taboo Talk to uplift you, help you, and elevate you so that you can live the best life possible.
Absolutely.
And the reason why she did that is because you are special, deserves nothing less than the very best that God has to offer.
Absolutely.
Continue seeking God's face in all that you do, and a wonderful life will occur for you. Taboo Talk, featuring me, your very own pastor, Lady Charmaine Day, exists because we want to help you have the best life possible.
Absolutely.
I promise you, I will continue to bring people like Deborah M.Cofer on the show who are subject matter experts in the lived experience to take you to that next level because you deserve it. Well, until next time, take care of yourself, stay special. Goodbye.
Bye.